Hello, daughter.
Oh.
What's tea, girl?
If it isn't my movie store mother. Please have a seat, have a seat.
This is your establishment?
This is my establishment, yes. We've been open since before Stonewall.
Oh.
The first Brit came here.
Legendary.
To have a drink first. What do you want to drink?
I want something stern and fruity like me.
Cheers.
Cheers, pumpkin. I'm proud of you.
Well, I am proud of you. You just landed back in the States. As many people have heard, you are the first trans actress to lead a film in competition at the oldest film festival in the world, the Venice Film Festival. What does that bring up for you?
Well, I mean, the first thing is like, God, why did it take so long? But obviously I'm grateful, but also just wondering, like, you know, if this establishment has been around since, I don't know, the 30s. Now, it's a little daunting to think how far we have to go still. I think my biggest question now is, what now? Will the film get distribution? Will it do well? Will I get to a place in life where I feel safe enough to then like start a production company and tell other people's stories and bring more trans people into the fold and more marginalized folks? Like, it's not just about me, it's about this film doing well, and what does that mean for our community? What does that mean for marginalized folks in general, and how do we parlay that into success for all of us? That's the big picture for me.
Well, I was lucky enough to see you receive your 11.5-minute standing ovation at Venice Film Festival, the oldest film festival in the world. Was it too short?
I mean, it felt long to me.
It felt long to me too.
I was gagging. I mean, I was really gagging.
Yeah.
After the first 5 minutes or so, I was caught up in emotion. I just couldn't believe that this was happening for me. It was just theater of 1,000 people. I just staring at me. I started to cry and shake, and like I was having flashbacks of my journey, where I've been, you know, where I come from. It was surreal. It didn't feel real. I'm still honestly processing that moment.
Well, for those who haven't seen Monica yet, it is a story about family and love and loss and coming back to that force of the nuclear family. I think a lot of queer people will see it and relate. Is there anything you can tell people that are going through their own journey of like what they can see within themselves in Monica?
I mean, spoiler alert, but I think forgiveness is the biggest takeaway. Queer people in general, especially trans folk, have complicated relationships with their biological families. And the piece for me was like, okay, but what do we do at the time we have left? And maybe someone has wronged you, maybe you've lost some time, but what now? You know, and how much of your life do you want to spend holding that anger if both parties are willing to come to the table and start anew?
I love that.
Yeah.
There's hope. You know, because a lot of times our stories are viewed through this lens of like, we're victims.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of times we're victims of circumstance, but we're not victims. We are survivors.
And our parents are victims too. I mean, I think about what society tells our parents to think, what they're programmed to think about different sexualities and gender identities, and how that affects the way they treat their children. Are they able to challenge those beliefs and overcome them? I'm grateful that my mom was able to challenge those things, and I didn't lose 20 years with her. Our journey was a shorter path.
With Monica, you are a leading lady, and you know, usually when someone has a film at Venice Film Festival and all the things that you're coming to the table with, usually there's roles that come after that. Is there any roles or anything that you could think of that you're like, I can do that if they give me a chance?
I think I'm just waiting for the opportunities, the leading lady type opportunities. I mean, I would love to do, like, wear some, you know, my Hunger Games or Marvel or you know, My Pretty Woman or Erin Brockovich type, whatever. I feel confident in my range. I would love to do comedy. It's just, there seems to be like a wall there, and I just wish executives would trust trans talent, because there's this unwritten thing in the acting world where, like, if an actor goes to Yale School of Drama, you know, they're already primed and prepped for whatever success. But what you may not get from Yale School of Drama is the hard knocks life that a lot of trans people know. Life was my biggest acting teacher. I mean, I studied at various acting studios. I did my time, I studied my craft. But it was learning how to harness everything that I've been through that I feel like made me have that edge, that special sauce, that something. Every trans person I know has a little bit of that, you know? And so I just wish that executives would see that as an asset instead of like, you know, oh, they come from this and it's so hard and da-da-da, well, they didn't go to Yale or they didn't go to Tisch or whatever. Like,
but
no.
I feel like a lot of times those are just excuses for not taking a chance on people. Because we see it every day. There's a new it girl, there's a new it gay, there's a new it guy that come through.
Right.
And I think that trans talent deserves just as much. You know, I would love to see like an Ocean's 8 with you and Laverne
so
and
fun.
MJ and Peppermint. Like, one, that would be so fun to just work on set.
Maybe a Kiki.
Or you could call it the dolls.
The dollhouse.
The dolls. Before Pose and, you know, the show Legendary and, you know, Lil Nas X voguing and Beyonce doing, you know, a lot of great things to spotlight the ballroom community, you were there, you know, putting in your dues, getting your tens, getting your chops. What would you say that the ballroom community has taught you about being primed and ready for this industry?
Ballroom is like boot camp for life in a lot of ways. The knocks that you take, the love that you get. I found ballroom when I needed a sense of family as a young person in New York on my own. When I first started in the acting realm, I felt like I had to keep my ballroom life very, very separate because there's all this stigma that comes with being a ballroom girl. Like for years, there was all these like negative kind of stereotypes, and it's a trip for me to see how much pop culture now pulls from ballroom and the slang and all of that is mainstream. When I hear people say, oh, she ate that, or missing carried, or whatever, like, you know, I'm like, oh, okay, this is where we are. You know what I mean? Like, it's, wow.
Yeah.
You know, being the mother of a house for nearly a decade and then founding a new one and seeing like whole shows pop up about our roots is a trip. My hope is that at some point, you know, they really give the girls from the scene their flowers and their checks and figure out a pipeline to success, because we come from have-nots. That doesn't mean that we don't deserve to have.
I mean, when I was watching Monica and she goes back home to her childhood home or whatnot, I don't know, I had a moment where I was like, oh, that'd be so nice to go and like start life or like start your own journey in a place maybe that you grew up that you were trying to escape, like you were saying, like get out of. I feel like as queer and trans people, a lot of times we leave, but I feel like there's such a special thing about people that stay. Queer people and trans people that stay in those situations and make it better for themselves. Would you ever consider starting a cute little new life somewhere else?
I would. I would. I've thought about buying a house somewhere that's maybe not in LA, and just getting a piece of that simple life. I mean, I would love to keep acting. Hopefully the opportunities continue to come. But I do miss that grounded like part of that realness that I grew up with. I think I crave that like for this stage in my life. I need that little bit of like grounded normalcy and
It's a nice man.
a nice man. That would be nice. That would be nice.
Speaking of,
That would be nice.
speaking of, are you single? Are you looking?
I'm single. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a great platform, I think, to, shoot your shot and say, like, what is Trace Lysette looking for in a suitor?
Oof. Oh my God. I didn't know we were doing this today. I need somebody. I need a man who can hold it down. I need somebody who has it together.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they have to be some big shot. Just like whatever you do for a living. You're comfortable. Your bills are paid like mine are paid. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean it. I'm not a gold digger, girl. I just your plate needs to be full and mine needs to be full, and then we can share entrees.
Ooh, I love that. It's tapas style.
Yeah.
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 His heart.
Yeah, his heart has to be big like mine. I have a big heart. I'm stern on the outside, soft on the inside. Mm-hmm. Big heart, loyal to a fault. He can have a little dash of hood, like a little something, But professional.
Yeah.
A chameleon, because I am a chameleon.
Yeah.
I am a chameleon.
So you're saying the male version of you?
Is that narcissistic? I don't know.
No, I mean, listen, if I walked in a room, I'd be like, let's go. Let's, because what you give.
I know,
and you just want that in return. I think that is like dating 101. It's like
you just want
someone to match.
Someone
that
to
energy.
match what you're putting out there.
Well, if by the time this airs she isn't already scooped up, my sister needs a good man, and me too. I mean, we could go. If you are out there and
this
you
is
see
a PSA.
PSA, we need a man. Well, not one man, but